speaking of eyeballs.
Yeah, I know.
Speaking of eyeballs, Grogu. Just keep those off.
No, it doesn't make them better necessarily.
Just lose your vision. Does that help? All right, blindness.
No.
We actually talked about doing this. So I suggested.
Oh, you are closing your eyes.
we did it blindfolded, and then Kayla was like, "What would make that any different?" And then she was like, "We should make the whole fucking picture white."
I
And I was like,
eyes.
"That's silly."
Yeah.
And then I was like, "Well, if I blindfold myself, I can't read my notes, so that wouldn't help." So we're just, I just wanted to let you guys know we considered doing something, but we're not gonna do something. So we just literally finished recording our review for Echo Valley like 2 seconds ago, which also starred Julianne Moore. So this is a Julianne Moore double feature.
Yeah.
All right, patron request here, Blindness. This definitely had similarities. You know, the person who requested these two movies, this and The Divide, they always try to pair them with like something similar.
Oh, that's
and this is 100%. The whole time I was watching this, once we get to spoilers, obviously. Once we get to the containment area when they've been quarantined or whatever, that 100,000% feels like The Divide. I mean, it was giving. If I was watching this, had not watched The Divide in a while, I'd be sitting there going, "This reminds me of The Divide." So, very, very good double pairing here. This one upset me more, and I don't know if I've been this upset with like a character and a movie in a while. Like Speak No Evil is the last one I can remember being this angry about.
Yeah,
This one really pissed me off.
Yeah, there's definitely some angering character choices in this one for sure.
Julianne Moore made me want to fucking smash the television. Like, I don't even understand what the... Like, her having sight doesn't really benefit the film much at all.
Well,
and all it does is make me hate her.
I mean, I feel like the movie is definitely...
not meant to be taken literally.
Yeah, we were talking about it throughout the film.
But I don't know how you...
And it just seems like it's...
I get what you're saying, and I can agree to a degree. But I'm still watching the events play out.
Yeah, I'm not saying it makes it any less
The story is completely
infuriating.
straightforward for the most part. You can take it as an allegory or whatever, and that's fine. I'm sure that's all there it is there. We can do that. But regardless, her character is making all these decisions. And I cannot stand by them. We're going to get into it. I'm going to go ballistic on her character. So just so you know, Julianne Moore's character in this movie pissed me off to the nth degree. She is fucking useless. And I wanted her character to die a lot. Like, how fucking stupid can you possibly be?
Well, I don't know if it's entirely stupidity. I think there's a good amount of...
I don't know what else word to use.
Well, I would say like...
How about we get into it?
Okay.
And we'll talk about them individually.
Okay.
But this should probably be a very heated debate because I hate her. I fucking hate her. And I'm going to say this right out the gate, and I don't use PC language. So if you're offended by that, oh well. She is 1,000,000% complicit and responsible for the girls being raped in this movie. Straight up across the board, you're not changing my mind on that for any reason. She is so fucking stupid for letting that happen. I genuinely can't make heads or tails of it. Like, I don't understand it at all. She doesn't... Okay, she never uses her fucking sight to her advantage in this movie. Almost ever. Outside of, like, a couple small scenes. What the fuck is the point of her having her sight? Anyway, okay. Let's get into the movie. I'm so mad at her character in this movie. God damn it, she pissed me off. All right, so we got Mark Ruffalo in here as well. He plays her husband. He's an interesting character as well. But yeah. All right, so we got a guy who goes blind in traffic. The acting in this actually kind of reminded me a bit of The Divide, where sometimes it's quite good, and other times I thought it was very like low budget, cheap feeling, especially the opening scene.
Yeah, I actually I don't know what I was expecting with the opening scene. I kind of thought that everybody was. It sounds kind of bad because this doesn't. I don't know. I don't even know if I should say it like that, but it almost felt like. I know. Okay, no, I'm not gonna say. I think I'm gonna misphrase what I'm trying to say. Yeah, kind of.
I agree.
But then I was like, okay, they do have accents, but they're speaking English. Like that's fine. That's not a problem at all.
Yeah,
but I was kind of like maybe
it's like you're watching a foreign film that's been dubbed by like okay-ish American actors.
It's weird. It kind of felt like their physical performances didn't match up with their vocal performances.
I actually agree with that.
But it's like a weird thing to say.
No, I don't think it is. I agree with that 100%. It feels like a dubbed film.
Yeah.
When it's not. I've mentioned that before in other films.
The whole movie has that very washed out, like overexposed.
It's supposed to be like their vision, right?
Right. Yeah. Which I like. I actually like the style of the film.
It's an ugly film.
It's super ugly.
But that's on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. I like it only because it's intentional and it kind of like it obviously mirrors what's happening in the movie in general. But yeah, it is ugly.
Yeah. Then you got this asshole who comes in and, cases his joint, fucking helps him home. He goes blind in traffic. Everybody's honking, of course, because everyone's so self-fucking important. And they're all just like, who gives a shit? Like, the guy's probably in his car dead or having a heart attack or something. Thank God somebody comes to the rescue. But then some asshole who's pretending to be nice.
Yeah.
Takes him home.
The wolf in sheep's clothing.
Goes home with him, looks in his place, and then steals his car. Total piece of shit. I guess the first question to ask here for you is, what do you think this is like mass hysteria?
I do, because
yeah, we talk about the happiness thing.
Yeah, I think that there's a definite, he goes blind in traffic. There's this, sense of being surrounded by people, but everyone's disconnected in their own cars and their own bubbles. Like, if you've driven anywhere in America, especially, in overpopulated, city areas, how isolating it can feel, even though you're surrounded by people, you are very much alone. And so I think that there's, a stress that happens. I think that the blindness is this, psychosomatic symptom of being cut off from everybody that then spreads through mass hysteria and then in the end is kind of healed through connection and family. But I think that is a very, I do think the film is not literal. But if we're talking about it, I think it's hysterical blindness. Because they check his eyes, because that's what happens, right? He goes home. Yeah. His wife comes in after he's broken a vase. Yeah. And, they have this whole thing of trying to get to the eye doctor, and, which is Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo's character. Mm. And then they are literally checking his eyes, and his eyes are completely fine. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with your eyes. Yeah. So, I don't know what else it could be. I mean, it could be some other, a virus that is just we don't see it in your eyes, but... Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess I agree. I mean, I don't know what else it would be either, other than psychosomatic, and then it's just widespread. We, of course, only see the city that they're in. Is there other people like Julianne Moore's character who have sight? Why is she the only person? Right. I don't really have an answer for that if we are sticking to your allegorical kind of analysis where it's, disconnection from society and this and that. And yeah, she's a little bit more of a, optimist, right? When her husband comes home, he's very, stuck in his world, and she's, making food and is very free spirited and disconnected from the hustle and bustle.
Yeah, she makes like this.
I guess, but there's like no one else like that in the city. Like nobody else is like her. Bullshit. There's other people who would be like that.
I don't really have a good like answer as to why she is seemingly immune. You know, they do have some. It was very interesting because it's like. Well, first I should say that I do like how everybody's like interconnected. Like the found family all kind of end up being these people that he interacts with in passing at the eye doctor's office. Mm-hmm. And I like kind of just like seeing like we see the girl with the sunglasses in her life and everything. But yeah, Julianne Moore's character, like when she's making dinner and like they're talking, we were commenting on how they like sort of seem to be like miscommunicating. Like he's like trying to tell her about something and then she's like using the blender for the whipped cream and he's like, you know, like awkwardly waiting so he can like finish what he was saying. So it sort of seems like she's not listening to him. And then he says,
yeah, their marriage sucks.
He says I don't remember what word he says, but she's like, is that related to agnosticism? And it's like not at all. It's like not at all related to it, but he's like, in what way?
Yeah.
And she's talking about like the word itself,
Latin,
like the Latin root, and he's like,
Greek.
it's Greek. So it was just very interesting, like their constant like going back and forth. But yeah, like her comment about agnosticism and all of that, I'm like, I don't really know. You had thought like maybe it's because she doesn't believe that it's a real thing,
right?
But that's not really what agnosticism is. Like it's not a disbelief. It's just a like.
It's an indifference.
Yeah, if anything, it's an indifference, but
like
not even that necessarily. It's like
I don't really have any.
I could believe though, if anything.
Sure.
I don't know. I have no idea.
With enough proof.
I also liked what you had said too about like once everything spreads, and like people start going blind and they go to the prison. You had said, like, maybe this is sort of like an analogy for, like, motherhood.
Yeah.
Which I did think was pretty interesting because, I mean, I know we'll get there. We probably have some other things to talk about first, but the stuff that happens at the, like, the camp that they're at
that's hard to believe.
That's the most unbelievable part of the film, for sure. And it's where the bulk of the film takes place.
Yeah.
Which is why I can only imagine that it's supposed to be not literally taken.
So humans definitely have their shortcomings, right? Like humans are flawed creatures. There's no doubt about that. I don't know anyone who would argue different. But one thing we are really, really fucking good at is adaptability. This is one thing that humans are probably better at than any creature. We have an amazing ability to adapt to our surroundings, to our limitations, to our disabilities, whatever. The fact that these guys are so incapable of taking care of themselves, of being like hygienic and like civilized. I know that there's a panic, right? But when it comes into the quarantine, the only thing that happens is they lose their sight, right? There's no other threat going on. It's not like, you know, there's another movie I saw where senses started to disappear one after the other. First, they lost their smell or their taste. I can't remember what came first. And then from there, like one by one by one. And then, of course, eventually you're going to be down to, you're just going to be in your mind. Right, because you won't be able to feel. You won't be able to feel the world around you. You won't be able to sense anything. You won't be able to smell it. You won't be able... Without our senses, we're just kind of thoughts. We don't really have a connection to the world without our senses, right? And that's fucking terrifying. To just literally have no senses and to just be sitting here completely, like, I can't feel the room. I don't know where I'm at. I could be drowning. I could be fucking in the sky. I could be, who knows? I'm just sitting, like I might be sitting, I might not be. Like you have no control over anything if you have no senses, right? So the fact that they just lose their vision, like that sucks. But people go blind all the time. Like this is a pretty common thing, right? It's terrifying, right? That you just kind of this weird thing that even an eye doctor is like, I've never heard of such a thing. But the way in which they respond to it, the way they break down as a society, like especially within within the prison. If it was the whole world and we were watching the whole world went blind at once,
but
chaos would break out.
That is essentially what happens. Like, it starts to spread, and it spreads throughout the world.
But we don't know that until very close to the end of the film. We don't even get a sight outside. So we're not dealing with the outside world. To them, they think that they're the only ones.
I don't know.
They don't know what's going on in the world.
I agree with you in that, like, because I had a hard time, like, watching how they were acting in the prison and thinking that, like, people would really do that. But at the same time, I don't know. I mean, when COVID happened, people were, like, freaking out about toilet paper. Like, so I do think that there is a tendency for people to, like, literally lose their minds.
I get
when like structures break down, and like having something taken for so many people, sight is like your that's your primary sense, right? Like that's how you navigate the world for most people.
Yeah.
So I do think that there would be people that wouldn't be able to cope with that happening. And then I think there would be people like, because like you said, yes, people go blind all the time, but people go blind, you know, in a world that is like functioning, right? Like, so there's still like a structure outside of you, like losing that ability.
I understand.
Whereas in this, it's like everything's changing. I'm only saying this.
I understand, but you can't find the toilet.
I agree. That's why I don't think it's supposed to be taken literally, because
they're
it's
shitting
like,
on the floors.
They're like,
that's fucking like that's ape behavior. That doesn't make sense to humans. So what would really probably end up happening here is they would start creating like they would have lines, right, that they would put up around.
Which
and
is
it
what
would
they do.
And they do some of that, right? But you put one to the bathroom. There's a bathroom there. They have showers.
I do, yeah.
So you and then you have this one woman who has sight, and she wants to keep it a secret. She shouldn't have. That's a problem, and we'll get into that. But regardless, like, they wouldn't be shitting on the ground. I don't buy it. And they wouldn't be fucking just throwing trash everywhere, and it wouldn't be the mess that it is. It would be chaotic to a degree, but this level I don't buy.
I mean, there's people like literally walking around without their clothes on.
It's fucking insane.
Like I'm just like, okay, I don't know. Is that how people would act in this situation? Would they really just like lose their mind and be like throwing it all to the wind? Maybe. I think there would be people that do that, but I feel like
it's not a plot hole, as I've said plenty of times, because
just, we were just like, no
decisions.
way. But this is that kind of thing, right, where it's like, you know, prison could be nice if people wanted to make it nice.
Of
like,
course.
obviously you're there against your will, and the guards can be assholes and do horrible things to you. But if everybody,
no guards here.
But if everybody was getting along and like being kind to
prison.
each other, like, you know, it could be fine. And that's definitely the same thing here.
There's always bad apples.
There's always bad apples, and in this case, obviously, there's a king bad apple.
Oh my god, don't even start me with that guy.
Yeah. I don't really understand why she keeps her sight hidden for as long as she does.
No idea.
I kind of started thinking while we were talking if she was supposed to be like, I don't know, like if she's supposed to be like a Christ stand-in or something. But it just doesn't make sense, because she's like, I'm just trying to explain to myself, like,
I have no
what
idea.
her role is.
I think
with having sight with nobody else having sight. Like, she can see all the horrible things happening. Like, she can see the filth that they're living in. She can see everything.
And she's not doing anything to clean it up.
But she is, like, trying to help them in some ways. Like, she leads them around the places, and she tries to, like, you know, organize the food and stuff. Like, she does do things with her sight.
So,
but she's not like, pick up here. Like, you pooped on the floor.
I'm trying very hard to stay in order of the film. Okay. But I can definitely tell you that if I found out after everything that happened, after women were raped, after all of the shit that went down, if I found out that one of the people that was with me the whole time could see the whole time and didn't let anyone know, I'd kill her.
Because
I would fucking kill her. I would be like, are you the dumbest fucking person on planet Earth? I mean, this is the whole, like, you know, in the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king.
Right. Well, because I don't know why nobody would be like mad at her for being able to see. They wouldn't be like, give me your eyes or something. Like,
well, but she's also holding back insanely important information that the CDC would really need to know.
Sure.
Her husband being an ophthalmologist is more proof to that point, where he would be like, how
can you still see?
Like, you shouldn't be able to see.
Like, they think
you're an anomaly.
Yeah.
And you need to be tested. I have the expertise to be your mediator here, to talk to them. I will come with you and we can communicate about how the eyes function and whatever, right? Like, he's a fucking eye doctor. He has a wife who can see during a pandemic of blindness.
Yeah.
Why he would keep that a secret, he would tell the guards. That would get them out of there, number one. And then they would maybe be able to figure out what the fuck is going on to stop the spread, potentially. So it's extremely irresponsible for them to keep it to themselves just from that standpoint. But if you're going to put that aside and be like, well, I don't want my wife experimented on, who knows what they'll do with her, or they'll take her to a black site, I'll never see her again. Okay, you have that fear. I can understand that to some degree. But the fact that she never announces to anybody in there that she can see when it would benefit them all. Now, she's already overloaded with work in this. She's already has the whole weight of the community on her shoulders. They just don't know it.
Yeah.
And she could help them tremendously.
It's a very thankless job, yeah.
And when the guy gets... Okay, so we might as well just get to the thing. So we have the leader guy who ends up going bad, and he gets a gun. I don't remember how that happened.
Yeah, I don't know either.
How did he get a gun?
I don't know how...
I never noticed how he got a gun. But he got a gun.
He just has one when
and he has a gun, and it has unlimited ammo for some reason. This gun gets fired like 25 times in the movie. I don't understand where the bullets are coming from. So this is where it's hard to understand how this film is supposed to be taken literally. But he has a gun. He can't see. She gets the gun. He no longer has power.
Yes.
How easy would it have been for her to sneak in and grab the gun when she's the only one with sight?
So, I agree. That's what we were talking about the whole time.
I hate her and I hope she dies.
Nobody can see. She can... I mean, yes, people have been without vision, so their, like, hearing may be a little enhanced and stuff. The only thing that... And we don't even learn this until later.
She can just...
But one of the guys that's with him has been blind... is a blind person.
Which I don't understand why he's in there. That doesn't make any sense.
Also don't. I think they're just like, you're blind like everyone else, like, get in there.
Oh, you're talking about okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Danny Glover's character.
No, I'm talking about...
He has sight in one eye. And then loses it, I guess. But he looks like he has a dead eye and then a patch. Because his eye's glazed over like he has cataracts.
Yeah.
But he lost his sight, but nobody else has the cataracts looking.
He might have, minimal vision.
Maybe.
And have lost it. But, no, I'm talking about the guy with the king.
Yeah.
Is, like, full on, like, a blind person.
Yeah.
So, like, and he even says, like, oh, he's, like, a superhero in this. Because he's, obviously been navigating the world without sight for so long that he, like, is used to, like, using other senses. So he, like... he smells her or hears her or whatever when she comes in. So, but my point is that she doesn't even know about him until later.
I know. I'm just
so
saying.
I agree, but that
no point.
Yes, if I was in that person's position and I had sight, like 1,000%, I would be trying to sneak in there and kill this person, or at least take the gun from them. If you're not going to kill them, at least take the gun and then have that ability. But
it is the easiest thing in the world.
Now,
take on
granted,
blind people.
She has. Yes. The thing is, though, just because they're blind, they all are a bunch of, like, men that are bigger than her.
I don't care.
All it takes is one of them grabbing a hold of her, and then she's screwed.
She's screwed, but that's why you go in. That's why you go in, you take the gun. They're not gonna catch her. There's just people walking around. It's not like that. There's tons of movement. They don't know what's in their surroundings. She can take that gun from him so easily. There's no question in my mind she can get that gun from him insanely easy because no one's expecting it. That's the thing. This is why her sight is her like superpower. But no one knows like... anybody has sight in there, so he would never expect anyone to be able to get the gun from him because no one can see, right? So she comes up, I'm sure he lays it next to him, he has it somewhere, he stuffs it in his pants, it doesn't matter. She just comes and grabs it right away from him and just back, and then she has the gun and it's over. And then that's when she announces, I have the gun, and oh, by the way, I have sight. Then she's the most powerful person in there. Then she's fucking king. But she never plays that card, never one time. Never once. They leave after the girl who's blind sets the place on fire, and then they make her way out because there's no guards, and they finally figure that out after the place burns down. But she was going to let that. If that girl didn't burn the place down, what? She goes there and stabs him, but at the same point...
Well, okay, so she does, like... She tells that guy, like, I'll not forget, like, I won't forget your face. And that, like, kind of spooks him. And, like, she has that whole thing with the guards where she, like, flicks them off when they're, like, trying, she's, like, pretending to be blind.
Yeah.
So she does have, like, these moments where she's, like, kind of, like, showing that she is. And then, obviously, you know, she does tell the girl with the sunglasses because she, like, her husband ends up sleeping with her because he's, like, feeling extremely inadequate and not like her husband because she has to wipe his ass and everything, which...
Can you explain that to me?
No.
Why does anyone need to wipe your ass when you're blind?
I don't know, because here's the thing.
You could wipe it and then be like,
this is
am
gross.
I clean?
Yeah,
Am I clean? Look at the poop on the toilet paper.
Exactly.
She doesn't need to wipe his ass. She can just look at the toilet paper.
Exactly.
And you can also feel when you've wiped enough and there's nothing. Right? Like, and plus, even if that's the case, if you couldn't wipe your own ass, let's say, or you're like, I don't know if I'm clean, go to the showers.
But yes,
this is so simple.
She literally, and like, she feeds him. Like, we see her like feeding him.
What the fuck? These people are so incompetent.
I don't know, and that's why when you were like, is this supposed to be like motherhood? And I'm like, maybe, because it does feel like everybody is just like, they're just so depressed and so, like, scared from, like, you know, everything that they, like, have totally regressed. Like, completely regressed to, like, a child.
I feel like I know blind people can't see the movie, but I feel like if I, you know, put this movie on for a blind person or explain this movie to a blind person, they would find this film offensive.
The thing is, okay, being blind...
We're not fucking...
is a disability. Like, you're disabled.
It is, but not like this.
As with any disability, like, it just, there's so many varying degrees, and, like, if you are somebody that has, like, full mental capacity, but you're just blind, like, obviously blind people can navigate the world, you know, I'm not going to say easily, because the world is set up for people with sight, obviously, so it's, like, they're at a disadvantage, hence the disability part, but, like, obviously they exist and they function in the world, and there are, you know, whatever. But I don't know. I don't know why she's wiping his butt. I just am like, I mean, because, yeah, of course, like, if you're having, like, if you're, like, extremely ill or something, and your significant other is, like, having to care for you and, like, clean you in that way, like, yeah, like, that does take the, like, any kind of sexuality out. Like, it's, obviously, there can still be love there.
Sure.
Yeah, but, like, so I get it. Babe. I wipe your butt too.
Yeah.
But I get where he's coming from, but I'm just like, I don't understand why. Why can't you feed yourself? You're literally fine. Everything else in you is fine. Your body is fine. You can walk around.
Yeah, they're totally normal people.
Move. Like, aside from any of the older people, maybe, that are, like, a little, like, rickety, and, like, everybody else is, like, fine.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
And then the guy, like, he takes all their food hostage, and then he's like, give me all of your prized possessions. And
oh my god. We were like, why?
Okay, for what?
And they have to give, like, their wedding rings and, like, you know, their necklaces and, like, things that they're, like, this is, like, their last, like, little vestige of, like, society and, like, the life that they had behind, right? Like, anything you had on you, you would, like, hold as precious.
I'm assuming
Gives it to them
he
once?
thinks, like, yeah, of course.
And then they're like, what else are we supposed to give you?
The plan was always to get the women.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
So
yeah.
He's like, oh, we've talked, and now we want your women. It's like, get the fuck out of here. You always wanted the women. But regardless, I mean, this is the same idea with like, people in movies where an asteroid's coming towards the Earth to wipe it out, and then fucking, people are looting and stealing TVs and money from banks, and you're like, what are you doing?
Like, what are you?
But the hope is, right, that the asteroid's gonna miss the planet, or
right.
Or their site's gonna return, right?
Yes.
But like, I don't know, like, if your site returns, you don't think everyone in there is pressing charges and coming after you?
Yeah, but they're probably like, nobody knows who I am in here.
They know your voice. They know your voice.
It's stupid. Yeah, you're right. The plan was always to get the women. And then obviously, all of this is so upsetting with, like, the men being like, we can have volunteers or whatever. And all the women are like, what are you talking about? Like, we don't want to volunter. Like,
and they're like,
what would you do?
Yeah, what if it was you? And they're like, it's different.
Oh my God. That's so crazy.
How is it different?
I mean, this definitely is kind of like...
And the guy's like, because there's no fags in here.
Oh my God.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Because the girls like men, that makes them more okay with being raped than you?
Because the men aren't gay.
It's literally the same thing, though. You're fucking someone you don't want to... Like, you're letting someone stick their dick in you that you don't want to have their dick in you. So how is it any different?
It's no different.
You're like letting yourself be raped, period. There's no fags in here. So that just means that you think I like it? Because I like men, I somehow am more okay with getting fucked by a man than you? No. I don't want to fuck this guy just as much as you don't want to fuck this guy. I guarantee that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like throughout so many things in history where women were raped because of, like... Oh my God. I don't know, whatever, villages being plundered, or like even just being sold off into marriage with somebody that you didn't want to be with, and you're like, yeah, guess I have to be with this person. Yeah, that seems like all super upsetting. And then like the one woman that, like, the first woman that volunteers that is like, I guess I'll do it because like people have to eat, is the one that gets killed. Which
Kaylee
is
had
like,
to see me like pacing the room, and I was pretty.
Well, yeah, because at that point, because Julianne Moore is like, I'll go with her, and then obviously a bunch of women agree, and then they're walking there, and he was just like, if she lets them get raped right now,
oh my God,
because she looks at the scissors that she's been like holding on,
them.
And you think, okay, she took the scissors,
right?
She left them. It's like, why wouldn't you at least take the scissors and then, like, just start shanking them? Like, you can see them.
Literally, there's nothing the guy could do. Shank him in the neck and then take his gun. Because at that point, they're rapists, right?
Yeah.
And they literally rape a girl to death.
No, they don't just, and they beat her to death. They're like, this guy is, like, beating her and, like, punching her because she's a wet fish. Because she's, like...
Just laying there.
Yeah, because what? Okay, not only do you want to rape them, but you also want them to perform and, like, what? Like,
of course.
What?
Like,
what are you talking about?
But yeah, Julianne Moore, like, she, the guy's like, go down on me, suck my dick, whatever, and she's like, no, I'll bite it off, and then he, like, puts like the gun to her head, and she totally sucks his dick.
Yeah.
And she lets the other girl fuck him and everything, and then she watches all the girls in there get raped by those guys.
Yeah.
To me, I'm sorry, you're not changing my mind on this. This is 100%, like, on her. I'm not, okay, I shouldn't say 100%. She is 100% as responsible as those guys for me. Because she can stop this so easily. So easily. She has a superpower. She can literally go in there, get the gun from that guy, stab some dudes in the throat. They would never be able to fight back. They can't see. They can't even wipe their own ass. But right? Somehow they can fucking rape women with a woman who has full sight. She's useless. There's a shovel. You know where it's at. She has all sorts of fucking tools that she can grab. She could go in there and grab the boxes of food if she wanted. Nobody's fucking stopping her because nobody can see. It's so stupid. It makes me so angry. I'm like, how could she possibly as a woman, let a whole bunch of other women volunteer, and then she sat in there and watched them all get raped?
Yeah,
then
for sure,
also participated, sucked a dude's dick. Like, why would she do that?
Character decisions, right? Like, it is what it is. But like, I can tell you that if I was in that situation, I would definitely not go there without a fight. That's for sure.
And when it's revealed later, when she finally reveals to them, I got that side this whole time. Nobody, not one girl that's with him, not the Asian chick or the girl who fucked her husband. Nobody was like, wait, when we were getting raped, you had sight? You could have taken that guy's gun?
After that happens, like, they bring the body of the woman that got killed, and they, like, have, like, this mourning kind of ceremony where they're cleaning her up and everything. And then the blind guy from birth comes and is like, oh, ladies, like, we really enjoyed our night, like, but, you know, whatever, like, we have new women, like, from another ward, like, don't be jealous. And she's just like, there's only 8 of us now. And then he has that whole, like, what, did somebody die? And she's like, like, she was too much of a wet fish. Anyway.
And he has, like, this moment where it looks like he cares.
Yeah, he, like, kind of seems like...
feels bad.
Guilty or something, but it's just like, whatever, dude, like... At that point, though, that's when she does go in. Like, she takes the scissors and she goes in and then, like, kills the man, the king. Like, when they're in the midst of the next, like, rape party, basically. And then after that, when she, like, goes and they're all like, oh, they killed the leader. Like, there's going to be a war now. Like, we should turn in whoever did it from our side, blah, blah, blah. And then they start volunteering, like, people to, like, fight back, basically. And then she's like, I can see 12 of you. Like, there's 12 of you there. And everyone's just like, what? And, like, that's it. Their reaction is just like, what did she say?
Yeah.
She, like, what?
Yeah.
Such an underwhelming reaction to somebody saying, I can see 12 of you there. Like, I can only assume that they're like, she's just saying something? Like, she's crazy?
Fuck if I know.
Because what if somebody, but I don't know. I actually just don't know.
Nobody reacts to her having sight in a way that's even remotely believable.
Yeah.
The way people would react to finding out a person that they've been living in hell with, who they thought was blind the whole time, could see, that would be met with so many conflicting feelings from so many different people. They would be
exactly.
Like,
it would
how
be
the fuck?
So complicated. Because, even the girl that she tells... Like, the girl that sleeps with her husband, the sunglasses girl, is one of the girls that gets raped.
The girl
like, and she tells her before they get raped. She's like, I can see. And she's like, oh, I kind of always knew.
So, I didn't understand her character at all. I'd have to go back and rewatch the beginning, because, like, she had sight, but then she, like, didn't want to take the glasses off for some reason, and then the doctor was like, you know, like, okay, you can leave them on if you want. And then she went and she's like a prostitute, I guess?
Yeah. Again, this is like one of those metaphor things, because she, like, when she goes to the pharmacy to pick up drugs, he's like, you hiding from something or whatever? And she's like, like assholes like you or creeps like you. Yeah, she's
weird about, like, a guy hitting on her, but she's a hooker.
But she doesn't want to see them. But yet again, that's what I mean. Like, she's like blocking the connection. Like, she doesn't want them to look into her eyes.
So the glasses she's wearing, though, she can see through them.
Yeah.
So she's not blocking anything. She just doesn't want them to see her
eyes.
Right,
that's what I'm saying. Like, she doesn't want...
And then she's like, I can't take off the glasses no matter what. And she's like, but... So she's a hooker who purposely wears dark glasses to not, have eye contact with her clients.
Yeah.
Because she wants to be disconnected from her clients.
That's how I took it.
And so she goes into the eye doctor because she wears these dark glasses all the time, and that she's making sure it's not, like, affecting her vision?
I don't know if she was there for some other thing.
Or just like a regular checkup?
I don't know. I don't really know why she was there initially.
I just missed their dialogue because she just...
There was definitely some dialogue that I missed, too.
She didn't need to wear the glasses.
No.
And then she was like, can I just wear them? And he was like, yeah. And then she told her client, like, doctor's orders, when it really wasn't the doctor's orders. So I was confused on her character.
Yeah.
And then she's, has a romantic thing with him, and I guess they connect. because they both can't see each other, which is kind of what she wanted. But she knew that this guy was married to the girl, and then she was like, I always knew that you had sight. You're gonna fuck the one girl with sight's husband? Do you have a death wish?
I don't know, but yeah, Julianne Moore, like, just kind of basically...
She takes it fine,
she, like, instantly forgives them, but not... It's funny, because she's not, like, hugging on him, obviously, but, like, she goes over to her and is, like, stroking her hair and, like, telling her that she can see and, like, just whispering to her and stuff, and
yeah,
it's very intimate between them for a moment, while her husband is just kind of, like, back there. Super weird, yeah. The interpersonal relationships and everything in this are definitely bizarre, because then that girl also seems to have kind of like some type of romantic connection, maybe with the older man with the eye patch.
Yeah, like, there was like almost a romantic thing going on there, which is odd.
I don't know, but after everything burns, like, they leave, they find out that the guards are gone, they find out that the whole place is just in shambles and everyone's crazy and blind children are trying to, like, steal from people.
It's very, like, zombie apocalyptic,
very zombie, right? Very dystopian, and they go out and they're, like, all holding on to one another, and they literally lose, like, the pharmacist dude. I was laughing about this so much, because they, like, go into the city, and he, like, kind of, like, lets go of one of them, like, because he's at the very end.
Yeah.
And then, like, doesn't even say anything, doesn't, like, find them again, or be like, hey, like, guys, wait. Just, like, goes around a corner, and you just, like, see him, like, go.
I feel like he was just like, fuck these guys.
Maybe he just decided, like, never mind, like, I'm gonna go on my own way. But it felt like he got lost, and, like, I don't know. I thought that was
we
really
never
funny.
saw him again.
And they don't even say anything about it. I don't think
they're like, what happened to the guy? Nothing.
Yeah.
No, nothing. Which is odd.
Very weird. And then she finds that huge storage of food in a supermarket that's been, like, locked up underneath.
Which is so stupid, because in reality, you don't take bags of it and go back to the people. You go back to the people and you bring them to the food. This was such a stupid decision. Once again, so fucking dumb. Nobody can find your food bunker, so you go and you get the people and you quietly lead them back down there. You lock the gate and you go down into the food bunker with all the people, and then you have endless food. But instead, she tries to load up a few bags that she can carry and try to carry them through a bunch of hungry people.
Yeah.
Like, are you the dumbest fucking person imaginable? Like, yeah. I don't understand that at all.
It's just sad, too, because it's like, yeah, everyone's like, what do you have? And, like, they're all hungry.
Sure.
They all want to eat.
They can smell it.
You know, she gets outside with her bags of food, and, like, then one of the weirder parts of the movie is her husband is with her during this, and, like, he gets her away, and then he's like, I gotta go back before I lose where the, like, clothes were. And I'm like, what does he mean he's gotta go back? I don't understand.
Yeah, she needs to go back.
So weird, but so it's just for her to sit there basically and have this moment where she looks over and sees a pack of dogs eating a human, and then one dog comes down the stairs and doesn't eat the human, but
he doesn't even go far. He's like, he's pretty close.
Yeah, but the dog comes to her, and, you know, she hugs on it, and then they go into a church, and somebody has put in like cloths around all of the saints and like the statues of the saints, and the paintings have all had the eyes like kind of cut out of all the saints and everything, and angels, and she's like looking around all these people in the church, and there is some guy giving a sermon still.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. It's weird because, like, I kind of feel like the movie is like, fuck everyone except your family, which I don't agree with, because then ultimately, like, she leads them all back to their apartment, and they're all living there happily for like a day. Like, the women are like showering together and whatever, and then obviously the first infected guy from the beginning gets his sight back in the morning and starts to be able to see, and they're all happy, and he's like, you're beautiful, and they're like looking at each other, and he's looking at his wife, and, you know, it's like this wonderful moment. But it's like, I mean, yeah, ultimately everybody else's sight, I think, will start to come back.
I mean, that's what it's suggesting, right? He's the first person to lose his vision. He's the first person to get it back. So it's like a time thing. It's like it goes away for 2 months and comes back, and everyone's gonna, like, his wife should be, or I guess the carjacker.
Yeah.
Would be the next guy, but he dies. He actually dies trying to grope the prostitute because she kicks him in the leg and he gets injured. Shot. No, I know, but that's ultimately what leads to his death.
Yeah.
Because he gets gangrene in his leg, and then he goes out and purposely gets himself killed because he's so sick he doesn't want to deal with it. So he pops up on a guard and gets himself shot. But he would be the next, and then Mark Ruffalo should be the next one, and the wife and Mark Ruffalo around the same time should pretty much be the next ones to go. But yeah, I would assume that. But who knows? I mean, as you said, maybe it's just happiness or something, or like who fucking knows what's really causing this? Because it is psychosomatic, at least we think. And if it is psychosomatic, then
it could never come back for some people.
Yeah, then it should never come back. And all the people in that house it would have been interesting if everyone in the house, like as soon as he gets his sight back, they all start to be like, I can see too. But I do think it's suggesting, since he is the first. If it was anybody else, I'd be like, well, I don't know. But because it's him specifically, the first guy to lose his vision, I think that's the film's way of saying, like, yeah, it's going to come back in that order.
Yeah.
Another thing that's interesting is, and I think this is stuff that probably should have been played with way more in the film, and I think the film kind of fails in a lot of ways. But you know, when we were talking about Danny Glover and the prostitute character, maybe they had a relationship brewing or something. There is something interesting to, dissect there with vision linked to our prejudices and whatnot towards ageism or racism or any of the isms when we're dating or when we're around people or whatever, right? Because there's like this guy who uses a racial slur towards a black person, and he's like, how can you tell? And he's saying it to a black person, and he's like, you can just fucking tell.
Yeah, he's like,
and the guy's like, shut the fuck up,
like
man, because he's like, he's black,
right?
And he's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And the guy is talking about is not black.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny, and something that absolutely should have been explored more. Something, race, because race is something, in a lot of ways that we can really only see, and which makes racism so stupid. Literally, like, pigmentation or melanin in your skin makes a person completely different to you. It's just fucking stupidest thing ever. But also with the, with the couples, and it's like they just bond because they bond, not because, they have a physical attraction, which is typically how most people connect first. They always have to, like, what does he look like, right? That's like the first question anybody ever asks when they're trying to set somebody up with someone. It's like, well, what does he look like? What's a picture of him? Like, let me see what he visually looks like. If you take that element away, right, then it's like, then it really does come down to, like, how much you connect with someone. Blindness would help us in a lot of ways, like that. We would just have to connect with people for who they are, not what they look like. Which I think is an interesting thing, and I don't feel like that's explored here almost at all. They do like little tiny bits that are hinted at, but for the most part, I honestly don't know what this movie is trying to accomplish. I don't really know what the point is, just how inept people are when they have the burden of like an ailment, and like how fast society would collapse. It's kind of like it's a zombie apocalypse movie. It's an infected movie, right, for the most part. But
it has a lot of those elements.
What benefit does Julianne Moore's character having sight give to her character in this movie? I don't really have an answer for that, and that's the shit writing of the film. So I think the way that this would have worked better is if she did also go blind with her husband.
Yeah.
They went into the facility. No one could see. And then after she was raped, and all of the horrors started to happen, she got her sight back. Then all bets are off. Oh, you're fucked now. I have my vision. And then she goes and she takes the gun and she's like, I can see you, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then she takes control. And she's like, payback time. And then you watch them freak the fuck out. Because that's what should have happened. she should have been top dog. And she should have been able to go in there and let everyone know, you tried to fuck us over. You tried to hold our food from us. You were going to rape these girls, right? Let's say, like, she finds one of them raping a girl, right? And she grabs them and fucking kills them. And then she's like, okay, now I have to let it out. Now I have to let my secret be known. And then it's all about, like, how much advantage you have over people. It actually is about, like, the lopsidedness. So that's an interesting thing to explore. It's almost like rich versus poor or something. Like, the advantage you have over somebody who has a disability is exponential, and it's how you use that power. Right? You could even have two characters. The bad guy who's king, his sight returns.
Sure.
And her sight returns. And it's the good person with vision who's leading the, you know, it's the one person leading the blind, and then the other person leading the blind, and it's like an army of, like, the evil versus the army of, like, the downtrodden, and them trying to, like, you know, lean on their leaders. And she's like, I don't want to kill people, and it's like, you know, you're the only one here who can lead us to do it. Just point me in the right direction. I'll do the killing for you. You know, whatever. That's interesting. But her vision in this is not utilized to me almost at all. I feel like the film could be almost identical if she was blind. I don't feel like she uses it barely for their advantage, except for a couple moments. But she also fucks up, and she ends up getting them raped. She ends up getting most of the food stolen from her. She ends up letting most of the people in the facility die. She lets everybody live in squalor. She, like, what is she doing? I don't know, man. I hate it. I hated it. I hate this movie. I definitely had a horrible time watching it. But that's okay. I mean, that's... You know, I'm not gonna love everything.
I think it's a frustrating movie for sure. It's based on a book, which I'm curious about. I wonder if the book is... I mean, I can imagine that the book might have more context for some things, right? Like, kind of her inner thoughts and everything, and maybe give some more reasons as to why she does or doesn't do certain things.
You could write it in a way.
You could. I'm not saying it's not possible to do it as a film.
No,
I
know.
Saying, like, I would be curious.
I'm saying you can write her character in a way where this stuff makes sense.
Yeah.
Right? You have to put something in it, though, to make it believable. You know, something. You have to put something in. I could probably come up with some things. I wouldn't want to. Yeah. But I could come up with some things. I don't know, man. Like, no. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work as like, I don't know what the film's trying to say. As I said, I almost find it offensive to blind people. Like, we're basically just fucking apes once we lose our vision. Like, we're not capable of taking care of ourselves. Like, I've known blind people. Like, yeah, they live in a world with people who have sight, and they can lean on them, and the world is catered to them through people with sight, right? And I understand that, but these people are home alone a lot, and they adapt. They wipe their own ass. They fucking cook their own food. They are able to take care of themselves. None of these people adapt to the situation at all. They're completely useless. The entire film. After months and months of living in squalor, shitting on the floors, fucking walking around naked, fucking random people, like, up against walls because they're just like, I'm bored, I don't know what else to do. Like,
it's crazy.
It's insanity. It's like they all lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
I just don't buy any of it. I don't buy this
I don't
movie
think
at
it's
all.
realistic, but I don't think it's trying to be. So...
Okay, but what did they achieve?
Oh, I'm not saying they necessarily achieved anything. I'm just saying it's definitely not realistic.
What did this movie achieve in that way either, right? You got to succeed in something.
Right. Either be literal or don't be, but do it well.
Right, like with Speak No Evil, as much as the movie pissed me off, I think it absolutely achieved what it was going for. I think that the message it had about polite society in like Scandinavian countries is very well constructed, thought out, and executed. This, maybe someone will come into the comments, maybe the person who recommended this to me, they always send me a private message because they always want to remain anonymous, to give me their thoughts, and they'll break down everything what they thought. They must have recommended this movie for a reason. So,
yeah, I'm
and
curious.
They wanted Kaylee here. I usually do these by myself because we don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
But they were like, I want Kaylee in on this one if you can. Like, that's another request for this review. So there you go. I don't know what do you think? Because she's like, I want a female's perspective on this. What do you think this adds?
Well,
for you being a female, the rape stuff that angered me just as much as it did you. I think.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I definitely think that there's some stuff with like her just being a woman, I guess, and like having to take care of everybody. Like what we were saying earlier is like, you know, she's like become this really weird mother to everyone. But yeah, everything that she does in terms of like how she lets the women get treated and stuff is really upsetting.
See, though, that's the point. Thank you for once again bringing up the mother thing. So, if you want to go down that route, then she should have announced she had sight early on. And then it's the overwhelming pressure to take care of everyone that knows you have sight.
It's kind of like
that would be a much more interesting film.
She's doing it, but like it's like a thankless job,
right? But like everyone's leaning on her. That would have been 1,000 times better film to me, where she is the only person in there, and everyone's coming to her. And she's like, I'm so overwhelmed, I can't help everyone anymore.
That's why I started thinking like if it was supposed to be like I said, like is she supposed to be like a Christ figure or something, but that doesn't make sense to me either. Because she is like, the only reason I was thinking that was like, okay, maybe because she's not telling them she has sight, she's like wanting them to start taking care of themselves, but her character's just not set up like that, where she would have any kind of tools. Yeah, I don't know. I want to hear from somebody who's read the book. And I want to know what the book, if it is, how similar it is to the film. Yeah. And what is included in the book, like what other information and context, because I feel like it's needed. Yeah. So, yeah.
There's a show on Apple called See with Jason Momoa where the whole world goes blind, and then they kind of like regress, and then it's like hundreds of years in the future of humans who have no sight, and then one kid is born with vision, and they're like, you know, gonna be the king, and they're like trying to protect, and everyone's like fighting over the one kid with sight. I guess that's my understanding. I never watched the show, but I think this was making me think this is like a prequel to that. Like not really, because they get their fucking sight back in the end, but I would like to watch that show. That actually made me want to watch that. And then Sandra Oh makes an appearance in this as like the Minister of Health, I think. Her character is kind of pointless. Just shows that it's spreading, I guess, and kind of the hysteria. I don't know. I feel like this film is such a fucking failure on so many levels, and I want to know how they got that gun. I'm so curious on where that gun came from, and I want to know why they have so many fucking bullets.
Yeah, maybe we missed where he brought the gun in.
Maybe. The guy who gets shot in the head, did like, when the guy got the blood in his eyes, did he drop the gun and they found it? Or like, how the fuck did he get a gun? Did he just sneak it in?
That's what I thought.
He also snuck in. He snuck it in with like fucking 50 bullets?
He had a whole canister full of bullets, or however they're packaged.
Yeah, a box.
A whole jug.
It's a box. Box of ammunition, anyway.
If you say so.
Yeah.
I only buy my bullets in jugs and canisters.
I like jugs, but
jugs full of bullets.
Not jugs full of bullets. All right, I'm done. Anything more?
I think that's everything. I think we talked about pretty much everything. Yeah. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Well.
I started out this review.
You gotta wipe my ass.
I closed my eyes, and then you started it, and then I opened my eyes, and your eyes were closed. So I was like, oh, we're doing it closed, and then I closed my eyes again, and then I looked at you again. You had your eyes open, so.
I actually considered having us do a blind challenge for me, you, and the kids, where we just did a day of being blindfolded.
A day is a long time.
Yeah, or at least an hour. You appreciate it. I did it when I was a kid.
I appreciate my vision.
I did it when I was
I appreciate all my senses.
12 or 13.
Yeah.
I blindfolded myself for an hour just to see how it would be, and then when I took it off, oh boy.
Vision would be the hardest to lose for sure.
No doubt.
Because there's so many things you can do with vision. And as much as it would suck to not hear music or voices and stuff again, you could still watch movies, you could still read books and look at art and so many things. Whereas when you take away the sight, you do have the music, you have podcasts, you have audiobooks, you have all those things, but just a totally different world. We definitely are designed to be vision as our main thing.
Yeah.
So those that are born without vision and those that go blind, it's definitely a very interesting and totally different experience of being a human without sight.
Yeah.
But there's also animals that don't have it too. I always see those dogs there missing eyeballs and the cats and stuff. I think about those guys. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. In order of importance, smell is the lowest one on the totem pole for me.
Smell is so. You really underestimate how important smell is.
I'm not saying it's not important. I want all my senses.
If
you had to lose one.
You can't taste things.
If you had to lose one.
If I had to lose one, it would be my sense of sound, my sense of hearing.
Are you out of your mind?
Because
hearing is second most important.
Would mean you also lose taste.
You'd lose some taste.
You'd lose a lot of taste.
You'd lose a lot of taste.
And so many of your memories and everything is tied to smell.
Sound is insane.
I don't know. I just feel like I could
crazy.
Because I already get really overstimulated with sound. I don't like sound sometimes. But I also do like sound sometimes. But for the most part, I think sound can be annoying.
Sound? I can't believe you said that.
You
That's
said you
crazy.
would lose your sense of smell.
First over taste and smell.
Yeah, I like smelling good things.
Over hearing?
You why are you gilding me? Why are you shaming me for this?
That's anybody else freaking out right now. It's sight, then hearing. That I thought that would be universally accepted as the two last, and then feel is third.
The first one that I would
because feeling, you could never have an orgasm again. You could never that's a big one, obviously, right? So that feeling would be fucked. But then you wouldn't have pain, which would be nice. But then you'd never know if anything was wrong with you, which would be bad, right? But the pain is it's a half and half. For me, pain.
I don't know if the feeling is the same, when you have internal. I don't know.
Sure, it is.
Does it work the same way?
You feel pain. That's why you know that you have.
I know,
a problem.
but touch. This is feeling.
Okay.
It's not feeling internal. It's
your
ability to
nerve endings.
Yeah, with your fingers and stuff.
Pain.
But you're talking about your whole body. You can't feel anything.
Correct. That's feeling.
I just think that's feel. That's your than
what? What are you talking?
Losing your sense of being able to.
What? Okay, so if you have pain, what sense would that be? Because your body is made up of 5 senses and nothing else.
I just don't know. I don't know if that. If the nerve endings are the same, if it is the same, because.
Which one of your senses is pain?
No, I'm not saying that pain isn't a feeling. You know what? This review is over.
All right, we're done.
Bye.
We'll see you guys in the comments.
Bye.
Bye.